Welcome to Matters Financial and Geopolitical from a Frontier. Thank you for stopping by. Let me start with some macro thoughts. This is from Aurelia Ogulit out of Copenhagen. Peak Brexit, on to Trump. And I still, as I've said previously, notwithstanding what I think was a fantastic speech by Michelle Obama and the fact that Hillary Clinton is carving out the high road for herself, I still think that Donald has an extraordinary chance to take this. I think Brexit and a number of other things signal that if he can stir up his base sufficiently, he's going to go over the top. Home thoughts, Chandra Observatory. And this Chandra Observatory is a telescope, but it's named after Chandrasekhar, who was this mathematician who calculated all kinds of things about the universe purely from maths. The Chandra Observatory is saying, good morning, universe, good morning to you all as well. My mind has gone to Andy Warhol, and you'll know why in a minute. It's not what you are that counts, it's what they think you are. In the future, everybody will be world famous for 15 minutes. I believe in low lights and trick mirrors. This place is famous for a sex scandal, but these days could become known for the restaurant. Diners in search of a slice of luxury, seasoned with history and spiced with scandal, need look no further than Cliveden, the mansion estate that was the birthplace of the Profumo affair. Now it is home to Andre Garrett at Cliveden, one of the most gorgeous places to dine in the UK. The mansion on the banks of the River Thames has had many famous guests in its more than 350 years, but it is best known today for the affair that brought down a British war minister. In 1961, Secretary of State for War John Profumo met model Christine Keeler at the pool at Cliveden, where by her account she was swimming naked. She was also crucially sleeping with a Soviet spy. Profumo later resigned after he lied about the affair in the House of Commons. Prime Minister Harold Macmillan stepped down a few months after that. The food includes raw South Coast mackerel with Isle of Wight tomatoes, strawberry, wood sorrel, or guanciale, which is cured meat salad with grilled white peach, blue cheese, and candied walnut. A whole roasted quail is beautifully cooked, the meat soft and moist, served with glazed turnip. I've never liked quail, all those sort of very gamey type of things. Blackberry in a rich sauce. An alternative braised Cornish cuttlefish with octopus and bouillabaisse was a true taste of the sea. The desserts included English cherry clafoutis with lemon ice cream, but I went for seasonal berries followed by cheese lucky fare. This is Richard Vines, who must have one of the best jobs in the world, which is going all around the world to eat fine meals. And let me put up a photograph of that very famous pool where he met her swimming naked. It's hidden behind a high red brick wall, part of a spa. And an image of the whole roasted quail with glazed turnip and blackberry, braised Cornish cuttlefish, ajo blanco, white gazpacho, and seasonal berries. Look, listen to this. When they go low, we go high. That's FLOTUS. Brilliant. And look at this photograph that Hillary posted, quoting that, when they go low, we go high. POTUS, President Obama, tweeted just an incredible speech by an incredible woman. I love you, Michelle. And it's not wrong. So very strong intervention. However, once we look at it dispassionately, he has a serious chance, I'm afraid. A lot's going to depend on how Hillary deals with the Sanders crowd and also a number of other factors, but she's really got to start to fire up her base. You can see that Michelle fired them up, but Hillary's got to do that. South Sudan, Salva Kiir removes Riek Machar as a deputy leader. South Sudan's President Kiir has removed Riek Machar as first vice president 2 weeks after the rival leaders' forces clashed in the capital. Mr. Machar was replaced by Taban Deng Gai, a former peace negotiator. I don't know how you do that. If you're a sort of joint government, one side can, by extension, I don't know why Riek Machar isn't removing President Kiir. It's not clear to me that the president has the right to act unilaterally, and therefore this fait accompli might not achieve a better outcome. For the world to honour the right of every girl to go to school, this is my dream today and every day. That's Malala. China-US common interests outweigh differences. Xi meeting with Ambassador Rice. Let's keep an eye on that. Everyone seems to be trying to calm it down a little in the South China Sea. Germany put on edge after unprecedented string of attacks. 4 attacks in the last week left many dead and wounded, placing pressure on German Chancellor Angela Merkel's government to stem the violence. Latest incident occurred late Sunday at a music festival in the Bavarian town of Ansbach, near Nuremberg. Bavaria, I studied German. Actually, when I was 16, I went on an exchange to Munich and to Bavaria. That's the land of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, the beer festival, and very good-looking women. So as a 16-year-old, that was long before the Turks had really got there, or the other immigrants. I was a bit of a rarity, and I must say I enjoyed it. The bombing followed a shooting spree at a shopping centre in Munich on Friday, which an 18-year-old man shot dead 9 people before killing himself. We're shaken by the events that occurred over the weekend. The 4 assaults didn't offer a clear picture about motives. The Germans have been good in that sense. They haven't been hysterical. On the 12th of June 2015, I was writing about the Paris attacks, and I talked of a Europe off balance, and how events in Paris, the Charlie Hebdo offices, and the Bonnie and Clyde show in and around Paris, and finally the denouement in 2 separate locations captured the airwaves completely. We all understand the language of the media. As such, the Kouachi brothers and Amedi Koulibaly and his crossbow-toting partner Hayat Boumediene were so proficient at taking over the world's attention. This is what terrorism is about. How long you can take over the news flow and stay there. And I said, the arrival of the asymmetric threat on the streets of Paris, you could extend that to say Europe, was deeply unsettling and will surely keep Europe off balance and presages a new normal. Put up a photograph of a woman placing a candle at a memorial in front of the Olympia Einkaufszentrum shopping centre in Munich on July 24th. Taking back to the other point I made, which is in a world of 7 billion, the fat-tailed people, the crazy people, of which all these folks seem to be, those prepared to act for their Warholian moment of fame, and it's more than 15 minutes because they tend to control it for about 36 hours. It's quite a number. Put up a photograph of Andy Warhol. Terror sends Europe's holidaymakers to safety of Spain and Portugal. And Turkey's getting hit extremely hard, France as well. I'll put up a map of terrorist attacks 2015, concentration and intensity. International markets. Sir Philip Green has been branded the unacceptable face of capitalism by MPs for systematic plunder of BHS before its collapse. The last person who was characterised as an unacceptable face of capitalism was Tiny Rowland, whose son was at school with me, funnily enough, and used to get £50 a week pocket money, which was a lot of money. Tiny Rowland methods were condemned by Edward Heath, the Prime Minister, as an unpleasant and an unacceptable face of capitalism. Put up a photograph of Philip Green and then Tiny Rowland. Let's move on to the currency markets. Well, it's all about what the Fed's going to do, and she's probably going to bail out again. Euro dollar 110.05, so popping above 110. Dollar index 97.17. Japanese yen big mover overnight 104.44. We were at 107.50 not too long ago. You will recall Swiss franc 0.9863. The pound 131.22. 127.99 was the multi-year low, and we'll continue to hold above that. We've had some pretty poor data, but I'm thinking to myself, so it looks like it's a little bit of a buy. The Aussies had a good bounce as of this morning, 0.7528. India rupee 67.375, South Korean 111.3746, the Real 328.61, Egyptian pound 8.88, and the South African rand, which has confounded everybody by being quite firm for a while, right up against resistance, is at 14.32, resistance is about 14.15, 14.20. And there goes dollar yen, but this was early this morning and the dollar yen went some more. That was David Inglis. I'll put up a 3-month chart of the dollar index. We might pull back a little bit here because we've got the Fed. And if they don't do anything, I think we could have a risk-on rally that might last until the end of the week or early next week. Ooh, we're halfway there. Ooh, living on a prayer. Nintendo, minus 23% this week, erasing half Pokemon Go rally gains. David Inglis again. Campari receives interest for villa worth over $330 million. The sale would be the most expensive residential property deal ever. David Campari, Milano's Spurs received interest from Middle East and North American buyers for a villa on France's Mediterranean coast that may be worth at least 300 million euros. We're not used to dealing with such assets, he said of the house. We just sell bottles. We don't spend our time in the Riviera and multi-million euro villas. Many people who are in the real estate industry see it above 300 million euros, he said. Commodity markets gold is at 1319 last time I checked. Let me check again. 1318.75. I think it's set for a rebound from about 1308 not too long ago. Brent, now have a look at this again from Aurelia in Copenhagen, and I think we're going straight down. We might get a bounce today and tomorrow on a no Fed decision, but I think you try and sell it on that rebound. WTI drops below key technical level now, full dollar below the 100-day moving average. That's David Inglis as well. First time I think I've been on this approach at this time, and it's clear, definitely a first. Fantastic. Hong Kong, of course. Father and Son by Marcel van Oosten, 2 elephants, and don't they look fantastic? They're the most extraordinary animals. They really are. My piece over the weekend was thoughts from the sub-Saharan African front line. I was talking about the very sharp downgrade, the fact that GDP is now at levels not seen since the 1990s, and if you take population increase into account, we're in reverse. Africa's actually getting poorer. I was saying countries like Zimbabwe feel like they are right at the edge. That age being described by Hunter S. Thompson, the edge, there is no honest way to explain it because the only people who really know where it is are the ones who have gone over. I was talking about the fact that I thought oil was going back to 40, which is going to put further pressure on sub-Saharan African GDP, simply because Nigeria, Angola, South Africa, big commodity producers in there. So policy-making mistakes are also being brutally punished. Mozambique, the golden boy in 2014, is now a pariah. President Buhari, I said he should have devalued the Naira on his first day of taking office when his political capital was sky high. The delay was unconscionable. The cost being exacted on the economy has been brutal. And then I was talking about the fact that since Brexit vote, investors have chased yield as they anticipated further monetary easing from Japan to the UK. And I was talking about the rally seen in our 10-year Eurobond and in other Eurobonds as well, African ones. 20% of the continent already have access to a mobile broadband connection, a figure predicted to triple in the next 5 years. This is the new Africa. It's not seen. The future is not seen in the rearview mirror. Smartphone connections in Africa stood at 226 million at the end of 2015 and are forecast to increase to 720 million by the end of 2020. South African all share up 5.13% this year. Dollar rand, as I said, 14.32, 14.10 area plus to 14.25 is resistance. Egyptian EGX 30 up 7.3% this year. As I said, President Buhari should have devalued the Naira on his first day of taking office when his political capital was sky high. The Nigerian all share down 3.53% this year. But if you put in the currency, it's at a 13-year low. Ghana Stock Exchange down 10.81% so far this year. Sunrise in Dar es Salaam. This is from Nabil, and it's a pretty photograph. Kenya Sport Pesa signs sponsorship deal with Hull City. Kenya betting company Sportsbet has announced a three-year multi-million-pound sponsorship deal with Hull City, highlighting both the global popularity of the English Premier League and the exponential rise of mobile gambling across East Africa's largest economy. Neither party gave specifics of their agreement, but Hull City said it was the most lucrative deal in the club's 112-year history. Ronald Kararu, Sportsbase's chief executive, said the investment in the EPL club was a big milestone for Sportsbet. It represented the scaling of a Kenyan brand into the global market. The Sportsbet platform will now be available in the United Kingdom, late in the year, present in several African countries, Mr. Kararu said. 1 year from now, we will have presence in at least 4 continents. Operates online via text message only, launched in Kenya in February 2014 by a local company, Pevens East Africa. Now has tens of thousands of unique monthly users, and its monthly revenues are estimated to average more than $10 million a month. It's more like 20 million euros. Last I heard, that was a few months back. A spokeswoman declined to give details and said Sportsbet was growing pretty good, employs more than 200 people. Real Forge, a Nairobi advertising analytics company, estimated that Sportsbet was the 20th biggest advertiser in Kenya last year, after more than tripling its spend in 2014. At present, Kenya has 30 licensed bookmakers, 10 of which operate online platforms. They divulge little data about their operations, but Real Forge estimates that the amount the industry spent on advertising grew about 800% in 2015 compared with 2014. Online gambling has also greatly boosted revenues. For mobile phone company Safaricom reported a 10.6% growth in messaging revenue in 12 months to March, with betting considered a big contributing factor. I said I expected the growth of the online gaming to remain exponential. It is the downside of the Uberization of the economy. I said it's unleashed a nation of gamblers, which is a fact. And the other fact is that they're taking a very big chunk of the average bet, so it's very difficult to make good money when the market maker is taking such a big portion. Ronald said this is a big milestone for Sportsbet and marks the scaling of a Kenyan brand into the global market. Since 2007, land in the inner city suburbs have increased 5-fold, while land prices in the satellite towns have increased 6-fold. This is Hass Land Index. Kenya shilling, which is Teflon, 101.30. Nairobi all share turned up 0.17% yesterday. It's down 4.77% year to date. NSE 20 at a 50-month low, down 13.17% this year. NSE firms trade at 1-year lows after negative reports that saying that the banking sector is weak. 52-week lows Total, Stanlib, Nation Media, Co-op, and Mumias. And I spoke about this previously. I called it the bifurcation at the Nairobi Securities Exchange. And have a look at that. I wrote that in April this year. We have big central bank meetings this week, from the Fed to the Bank of Japan through to our very own NBC. They cut the KBRR rate, and that's looking to stimulate credit within the economy. Nation Media slumped 5.51% to close at a 2016 low of 120. It's down 37.17% this year. Safaricom ticked higher, and it's up 11.04% in just this year, and just 2.42% below record high. KCB eased 25 cents. EABL rebounded 1.92%, right at the bottom of this year's trading range. Overdue rebound. Portland Cement was high tick 6.45%. They're apparently going to appoint a substantive CEO this week. That's an interesting company because they got a huge amount of land on the balance sheet, which, if they sold, would free them up and make them debt free. Once again, thank you for stopping by.